Iceland, the country that is on every single person's bucket list, and for the right reasons. If you're also planning to go to Iceland, you are in the right video, because today I'm going to tell you every single thing you need to know before going to Iceland, from visas to getting there, to seasons, to currency, to SIM card, to F-roads, to packing guide. Every single thing will be covered in this video, so stay along. The first and foremost thing that you need to do if your passport does not allow visa-free entry to Iceland is get a Schengen visa. I have an Indian passport and I applied the Schengen visa from Canada. In Canada, Embassy of Denmark processes Schengen visas for Iceland, but you need to apply through VFS Global, as that is the outsourced handler of visa applications. And to apply for the Schengen visa, you need to have flight reservations, hotel reservations, proof of financial means, which states that you have at least 29 euros per day throughout your trip, travel insurance, cover letter, which includes your itinerary and your passport. Basically, you go to this website, fill up the visa application form, pay the visa fee, print out the documents, go to VFS site, book an appointment with VFS Canada at the nearest VFS location in Toronto. It's at Bloor Street. And once you have your appointment booked, take all your documents, hard copies, at least 2 copies each, to the location, and then you submit everything, get your biometrics done, and wait. Okay, normally the site says it takes about 2 to 4 weeks for the visa to be processed, but it might take longer than that. So based on personal experience, don't leave it to the last minute. Keep at least 60 days in hand between your application and your travel dates. The process is somewhat similar in every country, but there are some exceptions and there might be some extra requirements. So make sure you go to the consulate site of your particular country where you are residing and check the document requirements and the process over there as well before you go and apply for the visa. Getting into Iceland from another country is super easy. You just take a flight to Keflavik airport, which is the only international airport in the country and located just 45 minutes outside of Reykjavik. Iceland Air is the main airlines of the country, and there is a budget flight called Play Airlines which operate regular flights from Europe and North America. I used Play, it was pretty decent and it was super cheap as well. So I've just landed in Keflavik airport and it is so quiet, but I'm so excited. I am in Iceland. Keflavik is a small airport and immigration took me just like 15-20 minutes. Immigration took like 2 minutes. The immigration officer was so nice. He just like asked me a couple of questions and I was like, I can show you documents. He's like, no, don't mind. So they were pretty surprised that I was traveling solo. And if you're a Canadian permanent resident, remember to take your permanent residency card because they ask for it and you might be denied entry if you don't have it. To reach Reykjavik downtown, there are a few options. One is taking a taxi, which can be super duper expensive, or you can book an airport transfer from your hotel, shared or private. But the cheapest option to get from the airport to city is using a shared bus. Flybus and Airport Direct are 2 companies that operate regular shuttle buses from airport. You can book it in advance, or you can go to the airport and book it from their kiosk as well. I booked the Flybus with hotel drop-off, so I paid $45 each way. But if you want to go even cheaper, there are Strato buses, which are public buses that run airport connectivity shuttles, and that costs 1,840 krona. Now let me tell you about the 2 essential stuff that you need when you land in Iceland: SIM card and money. The currency used in Iceland is called Icelandic krona, and this is the current exchange rate. But you know what's the best part about traveling in Iceland? You don't really need to carry cash. I totally forgot to carry cash with me, but guess what? I did not need cash even once. Everywhere I went, they were accepting cards, and if you have a credit card with no foreign transaction fee, that is your best friend in Iceland. I have a Scotiabank Visa card which does not charge foreign transaction fee, and the exchange rate was pretty good as well. So I just kept using that, and guess what? I did not need to pay cash anywhere. But if you want to get cash, there are plenty of ATMs from where you can get some Icelandic krona, or there's a bank in Reykjavik where you can go and exchange some money. And if you want to get a local SIM, because I don't know, I had to pay a lot of money to use my international roaming, so I got a local SIM. Maybe that's why you need a local SIM. You just go into one of these convenience stores and you can get it from there. I got a SIM card with unlimited calls, 10 GB data, and it just cost me 2,900 krona, which was super good and a wise decision because communicating with local operators got really easy. Now if you're thinking, Akanksha didn't even tell us where to stay in Reykjavik, well, don't worry, I've got you covered. When you land in Reykjavik, you will see a lot of people there because 60% of Iceland's population lives in Reykjavik. And in this particular downtown location, you will find all hostels, hotels and Airbnbs, and I also suggest that you stay here. And I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But if you're looking for accommodation in Reykjavik and you don't plan to drive, make sure that you're staying in Reykjavik downtown because it is going to be very convenient for you. I was in a super tight budget and that's why I chose to stay in a hostel, and I stayed in Kex Hostel, which is right here in downtown Reykjavik. It's a great location. You cross the road and there's the ocean, and you go a couple of blocks back, there's downtown. It's perfect. I stayed in a 6-bed shared dormitory and this is how my hostel was. Finally got my room and heading there now. The only problem here is that there's no lift, so you have to carry your bag upstairs, and all the rooms are on 3rd and 4th floor. Before I doze off, I want to show you where I'm staying. So this is my bed, top bunk again, but that's the room. I've sorted everything for tomorrow morning. 6-bed shared dormitory, and I paid $350 for 5 nights for this bed. And there's a kitchen and bathrooms are shared, which is pretty good and well maintained. I'll tell you if I face any issues, but this is great. I'm really liking this. Hostel life for the win. There are other hostels as well that are located in this same area, and you can also check out Dalur High Hostel, which is right on the main street of downtown Reykjavik. But I found Kex to be better and had better reviews, so I went for Kex. Now, to get around Reykjavik downtown, you can basically walk. This place is really small. I walked all throughout my time in Reykjavik and I did not have any issues. Although I am a walker, I'm used to walking like 5-10 kilometers a day. But if you're not a walker, you can actually take one of these electric scooters that are available everywhere in Reykjavik. It's by a company called Hop, and you just need to download the Hop app on your phone, and it's not sponsored. I just found it very cool and very quirky way to travel in the city, so I thought I should tell you guys. Once you have the Hop app, you find one of these guys which are lying around in the city everywhere. Everyone uses these electric scooters in Reykjavik, and trust me, it's super cool. I am actually a little scared, so I have never driven an electric scooter, so that's why I did not go and try it. There's another way to get around Reykjavik, which is Strætó bus. Strætó bus is the public bus which I mentioned earlier, and they run all across Reykjavik. There's also an app where you can find the routes and schedules, and you can find all the information from Strætó's website. Or there's something called Reykjavik City Card, which starts from 4,770 krona and gives you free access to Strætó buses in Reykjavik capital area. You can also get discounted access to some of the attractions in the city, as well as free access to some of the thermal swimming pools in Reykjavik. You can get the pass for 24, 48 or 72 hours. There was a point when I was considering getting it because I thought this is going to be the way that I travel, but then I saw myself walking and didn't need to buy it. But if you think that you would be using this, this is a great way to save money and get discounted access as well as free bus travel. Now this is important. If you want to get buses to different locations outside of Reykjavik, then you need to head to BSI bus terminal. This is also located in downtown Reykjavik, and BSI terminal is where you can get buses to other locations outside of Reykjavik city. So if you want to go to Blue Lagoon, Sky Lagoon, Landmannalaugar or any other place that operates a bus, this is where you can get the bus from. Since I was not driving, I took a bus from here to Sky Lagoon, and there are about 3 different departure timings, so you can choose when you want to go and when you want to come back. Just make sure that you have the time in mind. And Reykjavik Excursions is the main platform where you will find buses to other places in Iceland. So check out their website to find out if they have got buses to the place you are wanting to go to, and you will most probably find the bus from BSI. And now that we are talking about bus stops, let me tell you something about Reykjavik that you should know. There are 2 kinds of bus stops in the city, the Strætó bus stops and the tourist bus stops. Since Iceland is so tourist friendly, they have made these special bus stops in Reykjavik where you can gather and the tour operators pick you up from these places to take you on the tours. Unless you have booked a hotel pickup, you will mostly get instructions to gather at one of these 12 bus stops, and that's where your tour operator will pick you up for the day and drop you off as well. These are the locations of the 12 tourist bus stops in the city, and make sure that if you are living somewhere in downtown, one of these are very close to you. Otherwise, you'll be walking every day, morning and evening, to and from these places. And remember I was saying you should stay in downtown? Well, this is why you should stay in downtown. Now let me tell you a little bit about safety in Iceland. Iceland is the 3rd most safest country in the world where there is barely any crime. Well, there are not many people for the crime to happen, but still, if you want to be careful, just make sure you follow general precautions. I was there traveling solo, and this was my first ever solo trip, so I was a little apprehensive about how it will be, but when I went to Iceland, I did not feel even an ounce of fear. This country is super safe. Just follow your general precautions that you would do in any place and you'll be fine. Now you would be thinking, what is the best time to visit Iceland? The high seasons is summer, which is June, July and August. I went in August and it was beautiful. The weather was so amazing. I got full sun for 4 days, then 3 days of rain. But it was such a beautiful time to visit Iceland. But apart from August, July is an amazing time to visit because it's lupin season, it's warmer, there's less rain. So basically the weather is in your favor. If you plan to visit in summers, you also have a 3-month small window to visit the Icelandic Highlands, which is where you will find some beautiful landscapes, and this place is open only during summers. So if you plan to visit, make sure you have Icelandic Highlands in your bucket list. September is also not that bad of a month, but fall starts coming in and then it starts getting colder, windy and rainy. December to March is winter, and this is when you will see most of the snow and insane winds. But autumn and winter also mean that northern lights are visible, and this is possibly the best country to watch northern lights. So if you are going to Iceland just for that, fall is the time you should go, when you will get a little bit of moderate weather and you can also watch northern lights. Some months there are 24 hours of darkness, and then there are some where the sun is right across the horizon, just lingering over there. So Iceland is beautiful in any season you visit, but make sure you plan accordingly and check the weather before you go because you want to be prepared. And talking about seasons, how can we forget about packing guides? There are few things that you absolutely need to take to Iceland, and one of them is waterproof clothes. Jackets, pants, boots, you need everything. Especially if you're going to visit waterfalls, for example Selhana Falls, and you walk behind it, you will get drenched. So make sure you have your waterproof clothes on when you're visiting there, and just keep a pair with you just to be sure. Apart from waterproof, you need windproof clothes as well, and if you're going in winters, make sure you have correct technical jackets that are waterproof, windproof, have fur on the hoodie so you don't feel cold when you're out exploring. Hiking boots are a must, and pack layers, lots of layers. Thermals, fleece layers, sweaters, jackets, cotton t-shirts, you need to have everything on you. And make sure you have winter accessories with you like beanies, woolen socks, gloves and scarves. Even in summer, there were days when I needed them. Basically, go prepared for every kind of weather and make sure you have waterproof stuff. Even your bag can be waterproof for that matter. And don't forget your swimsuit because there are a lot of hot springs that you would want to get into. Oh, I forgot to tell you about language. Well, people in Iceland speak Icelandic, but you don't need to worry because they also speak English. So all the most street names and signs are in Icelandic. They are also in English, and it was not a big issue conversing in English language because most people are bilingual. Now, if you're in Iceland, you do not want to miss some of the amazing Icelandic delicacies which are available everywhere in Reykjavik and in other cities as well. I was cheaping out on food because everything is expensive in Iceland, but there are a few things that I recommend you should not miss. One of them is the famous Reykjavik hot dog, which is from the 1890s or something. You need to find this one, which is red and white, and there will be a queue outside of it. It is not in downtown Reykjavik, it is near Harpa Concert Hall, and this is where you will find the most authentic hot dog in Iceland. I loved it. I don't really have much to compare with, but the flavor and the price was perfect. Apart from this, I also recommend trying some fish and chips because the fish is so fresh. I had it with some beautiful people I met on a tour, and we had it in this place called Reykjavik Fish and Chips, which was super cool. And my third recommendation would be to try the soup in bread bowl. It is traditional Icelandic food and it was so good, and it's super filling as well. I had it in a place called Svarta Cafe. I think this is how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but the bread bowl was so good. You can eat the whole thing and you can get refills as well. So it is super filling. Now let me tell you some of the must-do things in Iceland. Well, Northern Lights is of course number one. But apart from that, I would highly recommend going on a South Coast tour. Even if you do it as a day tour from Reykjavik like I did, I was blown away by how amazing the waterfalls are over there. They were something else.
Oh my gosh! This is like my dream coming true.
My favorite one was Skogafoss because it looked so tiny from the road, but when you go closer, you can understand how big that is, and it was majestic. And if you're going to Iceland in summer, I have mentioned this before, but make sure you go to Icelandic Highlands because it's a different world. I could never imagine that Iceland was this as well. The highlands are so beautiful. The Rallet Mountains, they are so colorful that they take you to another world, and you actually have to cross F roads to get here. So if you're driving there, make sure you have a 4-wheel drive and you're an experienced driver because the roads are very tricky. And I have linked all the tours that I have been to in the description box if you want to check them out. Apart from Icelandic Highlands, I also went to do the Golden Circle, which is quintessential Icelandic tour that you have to do if you're going there for the first time. But this is something that you do only for the first time, never again, because it's not like Golden Circle is not beautiful. It is, but there are better places in Iceland that you want to spend your time and money on. And I was lucky enough to experience an active volcanic eruption. So I was there when the volcano was just about to finish, but I still got to go there, do the hike and see the volcano erupt. And I'm so grateful that I could do this. If you're in Iceland during volcano season, if it's erupting, make sure you go there because this is going to be a lifetime experience. You will never see it again. So make sure you take advantage of the chance that you have. And of course, if you're in Iceland, you do not want to miss the natural hot springs. I went to Sky Lagoon, although I wanted to go to Blue Lagoon, but getting there was a little inconvenient for me because I was not driving. But if you're driving, make sure you go to Blue Lagoon because it is amazing. It's mind-blowing. And if you can't get to Blue Lagoon, Sky Lagoon is not that bad either. Sky Lagoon has a beautiful location. There is the spa experience, the 7-step ritual that I took, but I found it overpriced and overhyped. You can skip it if you're not into these things and spend most of your time in the actual lagoon, which is amazing. Okay, of course, these places are going to be expensive, right? Because Iceland is everything but not cheap. Let me tell you one thing. If you're going to Iceland, be ready to spend money because this is the place where you spend money on experiences and cheap out on accommodation and food and all of those things. Budgeting in Iceland is a little difficult, but I made sure that I wanted to get some experiences, so I spent the money over there and I did not eat out every day, and that is how you can manage the expenses as well. I was in Iceland for 6 days and I spent approximately $1,700 for the whole thing, which includes visas, travel insurance, stay, food, drinks, tours, every single thing. And my average daily cost was 280 Canadian dollars, which is, I know, super expensive, but this is a country where you have to spend money on if you want to get experiences. And what do I think? What is my final verdict? Is Iceland worth visiting? Absolutely yes. I would definitely go back there again, stay for a longer time, and this time I would want to rent a car and go around the ring road because you need a car to experience the real Iceland, to go off the road and see places that are not on every tourist's bucket list. Iceland is surely expensive, but you can cut down cost. You can eat at gas stations, get groceries from bonus, or you can travel in a group that splits the cost of car rental. But make sure you visit Iceland at least once, even for a few days, because this country will blow you away. The rugged nature, the landscape, the diversity, the seasons, the northern lights, every single thing is mind-blowing. If you are a nature lover, Iceland is the place to be because even though it is very popular amongst tourists, there are still places which are untouched, which are rugged, which you can have just for yourself. So tell me, what are your plans for Iceland? And if you found this video useful, do give me a like and hit the subscribe button because I come up with these videos every now and then. And I will see you next week with another video. Bye bye.